With rates declining, a lot of people are asking, are you better off renting or buying here in Huntsville, Alabama? That's a big decision, and the choice that you make today could shape your financial future over the next 10 years. Let's dive into what's really happening in Huntsville and which option makes the most sense for you. Huntsville is not just another southern city, it's one of the fastest growing cities in the entire country. In fact, it's now the 27th largest city in the US by landmass, which means we have room to grow and we also have room to stay affordable, unlike many other markets that are already overcrowded. Job growth here is off the charts as well. We've got Space Command moving in, we've got FBI expansion bringing in potentially 2,000 or more jobs, Mazda, Toyota here as well. We've got biotech, Redstone Arsenal, and a wave of tech companies planting roots in our backyard. That job growth is fueling population growth, and people are moving here for more than just work. Huntsville has been ranked the #1 place to live in by the US News and World Reports, and with lifestyle perks like Smith Lake and Lake Guntersville, the Orion Amphitheater, and thriving mixed-use communities like Providence and Mid-City and Town Madison, Huntsville is quickly becoming both a career and a lifestyle destination. Now let's talk about why buying a home here can be such a powerful move. Across the US, the median net worth of homeowners is around $400,000. But for renters, it's just $10,000, and that's a 40-to-1 advantage. Homeownership is still the #1 wealth builder in America. And when you own, you're locking in your monthly payment, you're protecting yourself against rising rents, and you're building equity over time. On top of that, there are major tax benefits like mortgage interest deductions and property tax deductions that can save you tens of thousands of dollars over the years. Of course, buying isn't perfect. You've got upfront costs like your down payment and closing cost. You'll also be responsible for maintenance and repairs. And if you're someone who may need to relocate soon, buying can lock you in more than renting. And while interest rates are higher today than a couple years ago, they've already come down from peak levels, and historically, people have built incredible wealth even when rates were much higher than they are today. On the rental side, rates in Huntsville have actually started to decline a bit because there's a little bit of oversupply in apartment complexes, which has given renters some short-term relief. But don't get sucked into that, because here's the issue. When you rent, 100% of your money goes to your landlord, and you're not building equity, you're not getting tax savings, and you're really at the mercy of rent increases over time. Plus, you have limited control, no real ability to customize your space or really treat it like your own home. Let me show you what this looks like in real numbers. Let's say you buy a home for, say, $300,000 here in Huntsville. Over 10 years, if that home appreciates at just 4% a year, that translates to about $144,000 in potential appreciation. And over the same period, you'll pay down around $53,000 or $54,000 of principal, considering assuming about a 6% interest rate, and potentially about $40,000 in tax savings as well. So you add all that together, and that's about $240,000 worth of wealth built in just 10 years, simply by owning instead of renting. That's how homeowners build wealth versus renting. Compare that after 10 years, you built zero wealth, and now you potentially have 47% higher rent as well if you continue renting. So how do you know if buying is right for you? Well, you gotta ask yourself a few key questions. How long do you plan on staying in Huntsville? If you did have to relocate, because we are a transient city, would you be comfortable renting your home out? Do you wanna retire one day? That's a big one, because renting really makes it virtually impossible to ever retire because you don't build up the equity and build up that nest egg. And also, do you have an emergency fund saved up? If you don't, it might be smarter to buy a newer home with lower maintenance costs versus an older home that's going to need a lot of repairs and maintenance. And finally, have you run a true rent versus buy analysis that factors in all the things that we've talked about? Not only your monthly payments, but your appreciation, your tax savings, and your principal reduction. If you do that, what you'll probably find is it's much less expensive, and it builds wealth over time by owning versus renting, because that's where the real costs and the real opportunities show up, is when you run those numbers. At Matt Curtis Real Estate, we've sold over 8,000 homes right here in North Alabama. We've seen firsthand how homeownership transforms not just finances, but an entire family trees. And if you're trying to decide between renting or buying, our team can help you run the numbers really specific to your own situation. Reach out to us today for a free consultation, and let's really figure out together what makes the most sense for you and your family.